They didn't attend this wedding to celebrate love. They came to laugh. On the day a woman should feel most beautiful, Amara felt the most unwanted. Smiles hid cruelty. Laughter hid judgment. But what happens when a marriage begins in shame? Watch closely, because this wedding will change everything. If you believe love should never be mocked, tap like right now. Welcome to African Folktales by Timo. The days after the engagement were some of the longest days of Amara's life. In Umudike, news did not fade, it fermented. Every morning, Amara woke up hoping the whispers would stop. Every evening, she realized they had only grown louder. Women stopped pretending. When she passed, conversations paused. When she entered the market, eyes followed her. Some people laughed openly now, no longer hiding behind politeness. She thinks she has arrived. See how confidence entered her body. Pity can be dangerous. Amara heard it all. She tried to shrink herself even more, walked faster, spoke less, avoided crowded places, but nothing worked. The village had already decided her role. She was the girl who dared to reach above her place. Chibuzo was not spared either. At school, colleagues joked endlessly. "So, sir, when are we attending the wedding of the century? Make sure she doesn't carry our certificates away." Some laughed, some shook their heads. At home, his mother barely spoke to him. When she did, it was filled with disappointment. "You could have chosen better," she said one evening, her voice tired. "You have embarrassed me." Chibuzo remained calm, but the weight was heavy. He loved Amara, but he could see the toll the ridicule was taking on her. Some nights, he found her sitting quietly, staring into space. "Are you okay?" he would ask. She always smiled and nodded, but he knew that smile. It was a shield. When the wedding date was finally announced, Umudike reacted like a town waiting for entertainment. People planned outfits not to celebrate, but to outshine. Women spoke openly about how they would show her pepper. Men joked about how short the marriage would last. "Let's see how long love will feed them," they said. Amara's aunt, Mama Ezine, tried to encourage her. "Endure," she whispered. "Life changes." But even Mama Ezine was afraid that Amara was walking into a storm without shelter. The night before the wedding, Amara did not sleep. She sat on the edge of her bed, staring at her simple wedding gown hanging on the wall. It was clean, it was modest, it was all she could afford. She imagined the laughter, the whispers, the looks. For the first time since Chibuzo proposed, fear overwhelmed love. What if they are right? What if I ruin him? She knelt and cried quietly, covering her mouth so no one would hear. "God," she whispered, "if this marriage will destroy him, stop it." No answer came, only silence. The morning of the wedding arrived with bright sunlight and heavy tension. From early hours, people gathered. Music played, but the joy felt forced. Amara dressed slowly. Her hands trembled as she fixed her headscarf. Her reflection in the mirror looked unfamiliar, a woman about to step into judgment. Outside, she could hear laughter. When she arrived at the venue, the murmuring intensified. "She doesn't even look like a bride. This gown is too simple. Chibuzo really surprised us." Some women smiled directly at her, smiles that did not reach their eyes. Chibuzo stood waiting. When he saw her, his face softened. To him, she was beautiful. As Amara walked toward him, the whispers followed her like shadows. She could feel eyes on her body, her face, her steps. Her heart pounded. But then, Chibuzo reached for her hand, and for a moment, the world faded. After the ceremony, people gathered to eat and talk. That was when the real mockery began. One man laughed loudly and said, "My brother, you have courage, oh. Marriage is not easy, especially with, Laughter erupted. A woman added, "Love is blind indeed." Someone else whispered loud enough for Amara to hear. She should be grateful. This kind of opportunity does not come twice. Amara smiled politely. Inside, something broke. That night, in their small room, Amara finally collapsed. She sat on the floor and cried uncontrollably. "I'm sorry," she sobbed. "I didn't know it would be this bad." Chibuzo knelt beside her. "Look at me," he said gently. She raised her tear-filled eyes. "I married you because I love you, not because of them." She wanted to believe him, but the pain was deep. Days turned into weeks. Marriage did not soften the village, it hardened them. Whenever Amara returned to Umurike, people found ways to remind her she did not belong. Women compared her openly to others. "So-and-so's wife just bought new lace. Some people are lucky with husbands." Men spoke to Chibuzo with pity. "How is married life?" they asked, shaking their heads. One woman said openly to Amara, "You are lucky he chose you." That night, Amara cried until her chest hurt. One evening, after another painful visit to the village, Amara sat alone in their room. Chibuzo was asleep. Rain began to fall. Water leaked through the ceiling, dripping steadily on the floor. She did not move. She hugged her knees and stared at the drops. Is love enough? Is endurance all my life will be? Will this ever change? For the first time, the thought entered her mind. What if I leave? The thought scared her, but it stayed. As the rain continued to fall, Amara whispered a question into the darkness. How long can a person endure before they disappear? When the guests left, the laughter faded. Tears took their place. The village slept peacefully, convinced this marriage would fail. But they didn't know what Lagos was about to do to them. The next part will test love beyond imagination. Subscribe now and turn on notifications so you don't miss part 3. Would you have stayed or walked away? Comment below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next part.